Thanks for joining me today. I want to talk about finding love online. In the early days of finding love online, it was relatively, I guess you could say, straightforward and localized. So there was far less risk involved. That isn't to say that there was no risk. I mean, you could run into a serial killer, certainly, or you could get tricked, or you could meet somebody who you thought was going to be good looking and they turn out to look like, well, not good. I'll just say that. You could find somebody who you didn't want to have a relationship with, but could have a relationship with, um, or the reverse, or whatever. Maybe just friends. Maybe become roommates. Maybe get scammed like I did. Yes, online relationships were not always good to me. I met somebody who lived locally on the possibility that we might be interested in each other. More than one person, actually. One person I met, she picked me up, and I got in, and I see these small bottles of alcohol empty in her car, and I'm like, shit. Pardon my French, but I was really disappointed by that. It was clear that she must have been nervous, and her way of dealing with nervousness is alcohol, and I'm not down for that. So, you know, um, I spent the weekend at her place. We just hung out and didn't do anything because I didn't want to go down the road of dealing with an alcoholic. And I assumed that she was an alcoholic. She was very attractive, don't get me wrong. And she had given her little boy to a family member so that she could be alone with me for the weekend. So things could have gone very differently if I had felt differently about her use of alcohol to calm down. But yeah, maybe I missed an opportunity. I don't know. And I had others where it just didn't pan out. There was another woman I met through, I think it was either online or through a phone service, and she was also local. I went to her house, and on the I had offered tarot reading, and go over to her house and give her a tarot reading, and then went to the bathroom and I saw something sticking out of a cabinet that I'm not going to describe, and I was pretty sure that she had put it there deliberately for me to see because she had directed me to that bathroom and not another one, because she had two bathrooms if I remember correctly. Um, but I didn't do anything about it. I just pretended I didn't see it. And then I discovered she was a smoker, and that was a total turnoff for me. Because, no, I don't like kissing ashtrays. She was a good looking woman, too. And then there was another woman. I could go through a list of them. There was another woman who actually did scam me. We didn't hit it off, but I mean, I wasn't physically, or I wasn't really attracted to her, but she seemed very nice and everything, and had an engaging personality. And she spent some money on me, going to restaurants a couple, three times, and we ended up becoming roommates, which got her out of the basement that she was living in at somebody else's house. And unfortunately, shortly after moving in with me, and we weren't we weren't together, but we were roommates. Shortly after moving in, she said, "Oh, by the way, Saturday I'm having a party, and I want you not to be here." And I'm like, "What the?" So but I was like, "Okay, fine. You don't want me here? All right, fine. I won't be here." But I was not happy about that. And then she came home one day and she said, "I quit my job," and I'm like, "Oh, I was not happy." And she made no effort to get a job after that. And so then she owed money for rent, and I had to pay it because it was 50-50. We both signed the contract, and if one person didn't pay, we both got screwed. And I was friends with the manager, but contract's the contract. So I ended up having to pay some money, and then I said, "Look, You're making no effort to get a job. It's not my job to pay your bills. And I had very foolishly, toward the beginning of it, she had come to me and she said, I want to get a phone line, but I have some problems with the phone company. I owe them some money or something like that, or some I think she gave me a BS story about how they were messing with her because it wasn't her fault, kind of thing. And she said, can you please create a phone line in your name for me so that I can, call my mom who lived in a different city nearby. I was like totally oblivious to what was going on. And I said, I did. And so when it got to the point where she owed me I think she owed me 2 months of rent. So that was like 1 month of rent shared between us was something like 650. So she owed me like that much money. And I wrote this stuff down to her. I said, look, you got to pay this or get out. And she opted to get out. And then I discovered that not only has she not been paying the rent, not to mention the utilities, but she also had not been paying the phone company. And I said, look, it was her phone bill, not mine. And they were like, we don't care. It's in your name. You got to pay it. So it ended up that she walked away with, no debt. And I was saddled with, all told, at least $1,200. Crystal Jewett, you trash. Sorry. And never paid it. And stole some of my games that I had on CDs. So yeah, here's to you, you B word. So yeah, be careful. Now, getting specifically to online, I met her through a phone service, actually, I believe. But I went on Friend Finder and Adult Friend Finder, and I had some weird experiences. There was one lady from Friend Finder from the Philippines. We were just friends, and we had a nice friendship, and we kept in touch for a long, long time, even after I moved from America to Indonesia, and even after she got married to another American and moved to America. And when my wife and I visited America, we met with her, and I lost touch with her a few years back, but probably I would be happy to continue to be her friend because she was very nice. And then there was another lady on Adult Friend Finder, I believe it was, and supposedly Russian. And she's we're contacting each other, and she starts talking about how expensive it is to translate her letters to me and then have my letters to her translated, and that it costs so much money. And I very naively believed her. I didn't bother, even though the internet was a thing at that time. I didn't bother to research to see what the cost of things was, like where she lived. And we were planning for me to take a trip to go and see her and stuff. She had a kid, and if I remember, she was asking me to send her money so that she could have everything like set up for a nice visit with me, when I arrived. And I was kind of balking at that. And then I told her that the company I was working at was going out of business. And then she was like, well, bye. And in a way, I think that was good, because I think that perhaps on some level, maybe she was actually interested in me, or she was scamming me. But when she heard I was going to lose my job, she was like, well, I don't want to continue, targeting this person because the well is drying up. And she moved, or he, it could be he, this person moved on. And then there was another person also supposedly from Russia, and prettier than the first one. I mean, I saw, she sent some photos. And I think I talked about the problems with the company, and I didn't hear from her for a while, and then I reached out to her again, and she starts, we start going back and forth, and very abruptly, she sent me a nude photo and made some very adult comments, and I was like, it was really unexpected. It was rather too fast. Um, And then I realized, and by this time, she had also tricked me into sending her some money to pay for all the bills of our communication. I was just young and lonely and stupid, so I did this. And when I looked at the nude photo, I realized there was something wrong with her neck. So I blew up the picture on my screen, and I realized that whoever it was had taken this, that found pictures of this one attractive woman with clothes on, cut it off at the neck, and pasted it on to the nude body of somebody else. So then I was like, oh God, I got ripped off again. And so, ever since then, I've been much more careful. Yes, I'm sorry. This is root beer. I'm not drinking alcohol. I'm not like getting drunk on screen with you because I feel sorry for myself. This is just root beer. No alcohol. As diet too. So here's the thing. There are certain types of scams that are very, very basic. And what I really am trying to say is this. Scams are designed to prey on your emotions. And we're talking about hopes and fears. So it can be love. It can be taking advantage of your loneliness. It can be taking advantage of your desire for sex. It can be really, really taking advantage of the fact that you're isolated and vulnerable. And in addition, it will also prey on your fears. So some of these scammers will not just manipulate you in a way that fulfills you, but also like a lot of people call it gaslighting, but it's this swing of the misogynist where they're really mean to you and then, oh, I'm so sorry, I didn't mean it, please forgive me, and then everything's wonderful again, and they're treating you like a god or goddess, and then bam, smack you, virtually, and then, oh, I'm sorry, and it just goes back and forth, and it's very mentally destabilizing, demoralizing, and you end up becoming very confused. You start blaming yourself and so on and so forth, and it's really not good for your mental health, but you become very dependent on that person because you feel like that you've done something wrong, that you are the reason this person is reacting this way, and that they're wonderful because most of the time they're treating you really well. But ultimately they're just manipulating you because they want money. And there are lots and lots and lots and lots of stories all the time online about this happening. I mean, you can go to Trilogy Media where they try to expose and capture conversations with scammers. They try to save people from the scammers. And there are people who've been in a fake relationship for years. And they're so lonely and they're so dependent on the contact with this person that even when it's exposed to them that this person is scamming them and potentially dozens of other people, they cannot let go. They cannot stop sending the vast majority of the money they have or even go into debt to help this person. Oh, my child is really sick. Can you please send some more money to help me? The doctors say he or she could die if this therapy doesn't get done, and it's a lie. It's, so like you could, a lot of these people are men, but there are females out there that do it too. I mean, there's some famous stories online about this one woman scammer who was selling art that was supposedly made by her young child that was really good, and but it was all just a scam and very manipulative, because this person would make multiple personas online to reinforce the story. So you would be having conversations with multiple people whom you thought were this person, plus their family and friends and third parties, and it was all just one person. And they had scripts set up and stuff to make it easier for them not to make mistakes. Separate accounts, of course, too. And so here's the thing. If you are talking to somebody online and they don't want to show you a picture of themselves, that's a red flag. If they're willing to show you a picture of themselves, but they won't talk to you on the phone, that's a red flag. If they're willing to talk to you on the phone, but they won't talk to you in with a visual, with like Zoom or some other audio visual conversation, that's a red flag. If they're overseas and they're asking you to send them money, or even in the same country and asking you to send them money, that's a big red flag. If they are making up excuse after excuse after excuse after excuse as to why they cannot visit you, that's a red flag. So what I'm saying here is all those things that you may have experienced with a person that made you doubt, you should have been listening to those doubts. And it doesn't matter if it's about love, or if they contact you out of the blue on LinkedIn and say, hey, this is what I do, but I have and then you talk chit chat for a while and they're very nice to you. And suddenly they're like, I have a side business earning money dealing in cryptocurrency or NFTs. That is always a scam. They're contacting you under the cover of a job offer or interest in something you posted online or something like that. But what they're really going to do is they're going to offer you a chance to get involved in an amazing business opportunity involving crypto or NFTs, which, by the way, NFTs are all scams, even if they're sold by legitimate companies, because you're only buying the address, you're not buying the image. And the image can be removed. The server can be taken down. So anyways, their goal is to get you to invest on a platform that has been designed to scam people. So they'll tell you great stories, and other people will tell you great stories about all the money they've earned on that platform. And then they'll get you to join the platform, and you can be careful, and you can be like, you could be skeptical, and you're like, well, I'm not sure this is legit or not. And that's good. You should do that. But here's what's going to happen. They will let you pay in a small amount of money, and they'll give you a nice big return, just like promised. And they'll do it as many times as they can with you before you are like, I'm all in. And then you put in a large sum of money. And then suddenly you won't be able to withdraw your money, and you won't be able to get the interest or the bonuses or the excess or whatever it is. And then they'll disappear. And this is a very common tactic. And there are many different variations, but basically they're preying on your greed. They're preying on your fears. They're preying on your hopes. People want shortcuts. There are no shortcuts in life, unless you are like very lucky to come across a unicorn. And you have to be really good at recognizing unicorns, because if you don't, you lose the opportunity. But the thing of it is are unicorns real? Well, I'm not saying there is no opportunity where you might gain a lot of money. I mean, there are people who've invested in Bitcoin who have become millionaires or billionaires because of it. But the vast majority of people who invested in crypto lost their shirts and their pants and their underwear, and they're running around looking like the king who had no clothes because they were fooled. and they've invested in NFTs, and that's even worse. And then there are all these online influencers who manipulate you into investing into crypto and NFT and this other stuff, and they are being paid a proportion of the money to lie to you, to get you to invest, so they can do a rug pull in which they scam you and everybody else out of all the money. And suddenly some of them will flee the country, or they'll deny that they knew what was going on. Logan Paul does that over and over and over again, and people just keep on forgiving him. I mean, don't drink Prime sports drink. You're supporting him, and he's a criminal. And so is his brother. And you just go watch CoffeeZilla. He's proven so many of these people to be criminals. And just what amazes me is the fact that they haven't been put in jail yet for their crimes. It's like so many stories. So look, I understand that you're lonely, or you're afraid, or you need money or something like that. But there are people who are looking for you. They're actively searching for people just like you everywhere online. Forums, chat rooms. I love matching services, and all kinds of other things. And, if you want to find love, find somebody you're actually going to be able to meet on a regular basis. Not somebody who's on the other side of the world. Why the heck are you looking on the other side of the world? There are good people where you live. And besides, even if the person is legit and is who they say they are, a lot of times, if they're from a country where there's unrest, or financial struggles or whatever, they're in it for the green card. They're in it to become an American citizen, and they don't give a butthole about you. They're just using you. Now, that's not to say that they won't necessarily, or that they're all like that, but there are plenty who are more interested in you for the green card than they are in you for you. But you won't know it, because if they know what they're doing, they're very convincing. So, unfortunately, the world is full of people who have very few scruples and will do whatever it takes to get what they want. And the ones who are the worst are the ones who are the richest. I guarantee you that the vast majority of wealthy people are there not because they're nice people, but because they take advantage of people, because they kill people, or they manipulate the system, or they buy off politicians, or maybe all of these things and more. They could be criminals, buying and selling drugs, child prostitution, child enslavement, and so on and so forth. So I'm not saying that every single rich person is like that. There are legit people who have legitimately earned through their own efforts. Now, I will not say that Jeff Bezos or Mark Zuckerberg or Elon Musk or Bill Gates or a bunch of these other people are legit, because they take advantage of the regular people, which is why this. Nobody deserves to have $1 billion. It's ridiculous. I don't care, how many times you invested your money. Nobody needs that much money, and it's dangerous for people to have that much money, because then they're more powerful than entire governments. They're more powerful than entire countries. They can buy an entire country. And that is really dangerous when you have people that are more powerful and more influential and richer than entire countries or groups of countries. So, but yeah, the subject is online places to meet people and stuff, and scams in general. So please be very careful. And if you are getting bad vibes, don't listen to them. Listen to what your brain is saying, that it's a scam, because it most likely is. And I don't want that to happen to you. I've had it happen to me, and it really sucks. There are people walking around with my money in their pockets from my mistakes in the past, and I'm never going to get that money back. So, it doesn't matter if I don't get that money back, but I don't want it to happen to you. So thanks for watching, and I hope you have a great day.